Hello, so continuing on problems from weekly contest 348. The third problem is the sum of matrix after queries. And so here we have an integer n, and we have this 2D array called queries, where each query will have a variable called type, an index, and a value. Now, what are all of these? Well, the type just indicates whether we want to modify a row or a column. So if it's 0, it means we want to modify a row. If it's 1, it means we want to modify a column. And the index is the index of row we want to modify or the columns we want to modify. And then the value is what value should we put in the entire column or the entire row. Okay. And then for each query, basically, let's say, for example, here, with this query, this tells us that the type is 0, so we want to modify a row. And the row we want to modify is row at index 0. And the value we want to put in that row is just 1. And so we take the row at index 0, we put 1 in all the values there. So that's what it means. And the goal is taking this initial matrix that has all values of zeros, right? We want to apply these queries where each query will override the previous one. So what does that mean? Let's say here, once we put for the first row, we put ones. We get the second query, which says that it's to be applied to a column. And the index of the column we want to apply to is the index 2. And the values we want to put is 2. So we put 2's here. And so you can see we override the value that was in this position. And similarly, let's say we had another query after this one that tells us that in row 0 we want to modify and put 3, then we will overwrite it and put 3 in all the positions here. Okay, so each query overrides the previous one if it touches the same position. Okay, and then the ultimate goal of the problem is once we execute all the queries with this overwriting rules, then we want to give the sum of the entire matrix. So let's say here, after the last queries, we have this matrix. And so we want to sum all the values, which will give us the sum of 23. And that's what we need to return. Okay, so that's the idea. Now, looking at the constraint here, you can see that, so it's the matrix that we want to define is an n by n matrix, right? So that tells us is if we want to create it, then it will, we will need n by n, which is 10 to the power of 8. And that's already too big. And so that tells you that we shouldn't construct the matrix itself, but instead we should just calculate the sum right away so that we don't have to do 10 to the power of 8 operations. The other thing is queries are also up to 10 to the power of 4. So that already tells you that you can't just go in and do a brute force and just take every query and apply it. That's not gonna pass. And so let's see how we can tackle it. Okay, so let's see how we can tackle it. So the main insight here that you can think about is, so each query, for example, this query at position 1 will override any values from the previous query, and at 2 will override any values it touches from the previous query. And so you can see here, let's say if we had multiple queries that modify the same row. Let's say we had for each row here, let's say index 0, we want to do 1, and then afterwards index 0, we want to do 2, and then afterwards we want to do 3. So with these queries, row 0 at the end will just have values 3, right? We'll just have values of 3's. And so you can see these two didn't matter because all that matters is the last one. Okay? And similarly, if you had columns, also, let's say column 1, and first we put 2, and then we put 3, then we put 4, then at the end, that column 1 will just have 4's. So you can see really the precedence order here is for the last query. And so in that case, let's think, okay, why not just go in reverse order and see how we can take advantage of that? So if we go in reverse order, then we can, if we already had the same row, let's say for a row, for type equal to 0. If we already had the same row afterwards, so if we go right to left, then here, if we get a row that we've seen before, we should just skip changing anything because the one after it would just replace it. And so If we have the same row, we should just skip it. And similarly, if we have the same column, we should just skip it, because the last one would override the previous ones. Okay, so that's the first observation. And so how do we do that? How do we know that a row was already filled from a query after me? For each query, how do I know that the row was already filled? Well, we can just have a set for rows, and similarly we have a set for columns that just keeps track of keeps a track of the rows that were filled, that were overwritten by a query at the end, right? So that's the first observation. Now, how about the other part of this, which is, let's say if I first set the first row to ones, and then we get a query for the column, let's say column 0, to put 2. So what will happen in that case is we will put 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. Okay, so this one you can see change it from 1 to 2. How do we handle this? Well, all we need to think about here is that for this second, for this last column, right? So the last query happens first, right? So let's say the queries we have in this case are going to be 0, 0, 1. Okay, so we'll have this one first, and so when we get to this one, all we need to think about is that for this column, right, for this column that we put first, when we get to this one, we will need to keep this one at 2. And so we'll just say, okay, how many columns were already filled before me, right? Or after me, how many columns were already filled? In this case, it would be 1. And so I will fill only these. So I'll just take n minus 1, which is just the number of the length of the columns that were already filled. And those are the only values that I will fill. And so those are the only ones that I will add to my total. Let's take another example. Let's say I had maybe 0, 0, 1 here, and then 1, 0, 2, and maybe we had 1, 1, 3, like this. So we'll go in reverse order like this. And so for our rows set, and then we have a column set. So once we execute this one, so first we execute this one, and we'll say that now our columns has 1. And so how do we execute this one? Well, remember, the ultimate goal is the total sum of the matrix. And so when we want to execute this one, we will want to add the values. So the value, which is going to be 3. So we want to take this 3, and we want to multiply it by n. Now this is because this one is the last one. We know that we don't need to subtract anything, but let's say there was another row before it, then we will need to subtract the values of those rows. Okay, but it's going to be n minus the length of rows. This is for if it's a column. This is if t equal to 1. And so here, so we put 1, and our total is going to be 3 multiplied by n, which is equal to 3. We don't have any rows yet because it's empty, and so it's just going to be multiplied by 3, which is 9. Okay, so first we put 9 here. And now we go to this one, 1, 0, 2. So at this point, what we have is we shouldn't override the column 1. We should only put 2. So this case, this is column 0. Since we don't have any rows, again, it's going to be just 2 multiplied by n minus the length of rows. And so it's going to be 2 multiplied by 3, right? Which is going to be just 6. So plus 6, this is going to be 15. And now we get to the interesting part, which is the row. So for row 0, we already filled these 2 columns. Okay, so we already have 2's in the 0 column, and we already have 3 in the first column here. And so for this query here, we only need to change here. We shouldn't change these two because they are done by queries at the end, and those overwrite everything else, everything before them. And so what this means is that the only row we fill is this one. The only position we fill is this one. Now, how do we calculate this? Well, this is just similar to what we did here. This is just going to be so if t is equal to 0, then what we want to add is just the value multiplied by n minus the length of columns, the number of columns that we already filled. Because here we already filled this one, we already filled this one, so we need to not fill 2 columns in this row. And so what's left from if we don't fill 2 is just 3 minus 2, which is 1, which is just this position. Okay, and so in this case, we'll just apply this formula, which will give us, the value is 1, okay, multiplied by n minus the length of columns. The length of columns here, because we have 1 and 0 from here, so we have column 1 and column 0, is going to be 2. And so it's going to be 1 multiplied by 3 minus 2, which is going to be 1 multiplied by 1, which is going to be 1. And so we add 1 here, which means this becomes 16. And if we look at this, this is actually 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9. 2 plus 2, 4, plus 2 is 6. Okay, and then plus 1 that we put here. And so overall this is 15 and this is plus 1. It's overall 16. So it works. So let's just iterate what we are doing here. We'll just keep track of 2 sets, one for the rows and one for the columns. And this will allow us to just add, to know how many we should skip because they were overwritten by a future query. Okay, and we use this formula to know, what we skip. And then the other insight is that if we get a column that we already filled, so let's say we have 1, 1, 3, and then we have 1, 1, 4, we don't execute this one because this column is overwritten by this one. And so the other idea here is if the index of a column is already in columns, we should skip it. And similarly, if the index is already in rows, we should skip it because it will be overridden by a feature query, and we are going from right to left. And so if it's overridden by a feature query, it will be in either the column set or the row set. Okay, so those are the 2 ideas. First one is if for a column, we need to check how many rows were already filled so that we don't fill them, how many positions in the rows. And for the rows, we need to check how many positions in the columns were already filled so we don't fill them and we don't count them. And then for the rows also in the columns, the second idea is that if a column was already filled, we shouldn't fill it here because it's overwritten. And then if a row is already filled, we don't fill it, so because it will be overwritten. And this is all by just adding it to the total. Okay, I hope this clears it up a little bit. It will be more clear even with the code, so let's just jump in. Okay, so let's see how, let's write the code here. So we said that we need the set of columns and of rows, right? And then what we need is just to have the total here that we'll calculate as we run the queries. Okay, and now we need to go through the queries. So for each query, we'll get the type, the index, and the value. Okay, and now we want to check if it's for rows, then this is going to be equal to 0. And then if it's for columns, it's going to be else. Okay, now we said that we have, if the index is in row, which means we already filled this row from a previous query. Sorry, here we need to do it in reverse order so that we can go from right to left. Okay, and so if the index is already in the rows, then that means it's already filled. We should skip it. And so in this case, you could do continue, or you could just check here if index is not in rows, then that means it's a row that wasn't filled in a future query, and so we can fill it. And similarly here, if the index is not in columns, only in that case that we need to fill it. Okay, and now by how much we need to fill it, because that's how much we will add to our total. And so that's how much we need to add here. Now, as we said, we need to first multiply by value, because that's the thing that we'll put in these positions, let's say here, if we put 2 twice, then we need to multiply 2 by 2, right? And so here, how many we do? Well, we said for the row, it's going to be n minus how many columns were filled in the next queries, because we don't want to fill those, because if we fill them, they will be overwritten, right? And so we want to remove the rows the columns that were filled after us. And similar for columns here, it's just going to be rows, right? Because for a column, let's say like this one, right? Let's say like this one, if we fill this last row, then this position, the value of this position should be removed, because we will end up just with this one. So that's why we remove it here, okay? And so yeah, that's pretty much it. The only thing left to do is we need to, of course, add the row and the columns to this set. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to do this check. And so here we want to add the index that we just filled, and here we want to add the index that we just filled, because this is, remember, we are going from right to left, and this means basically that this row index overrides any previous value. So all previous values that touch this position don't matter, okay? And we return the sum total here. Okay, so let's run this, let's submit. And this passes, okay? Now, in terms of time complexity, this is, of course, first we are doing the slope, which is O of the length of the number of queries, so this is O of Q. And then these here are just O of 1 operations, because this is a set. And so it's going to be O of Q total. And then in terms of space, we are using these 2 sets, which each are going to be at most O of n. And so it's going to be O of n space. So O of Q time and O of n space. And O of Q time should pass, because that's roughly 10 to the power of 4. Okay? Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this problem. Please like and subscribe, and see you on the next one. Bye.